Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to The Main Thing. This is your new 9-minute podcast. I'm your host, Skip Lineberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. Do you ever wonder why when you meet a certain person for the first time you feel like you've known them forever? It just clicks sometimes, doesn't it? We'll delve into that today with our wise guest. Also, what goes on inside the mind of a highly gifted, multi-mused, creative person? How do they choose how to express their ideas? Is it going to be a poem, a photograph, an essay, or a song? We'll discuss this topic and more today with Pamela Kesling. Welcome back to the Main Thing Podcast. I'm your host, Skip Lineberg. Before we begin, let me tell you about a couple of extra ways you can benefit from our programming. You can learn more about our wisdom offerings and sign up for our twice-a-month newsletter. You can learn more about why we do what we do just by heading over to themainthingpodcast.com. And if you want to keep up with what's going on, our guests, our host, our crew, upcoming themes, follow us on the social platforms. Across all of them, we can be found as The Main Thing Pod. Some of them you put the @ sign before, and that's at The Main Thing Pod. The support of our patrons is vital to this program. I want to give a big thank you to our 3 newest patrons, Angela from Georgia, Jeff from Ohio, and Connie from Tennessee. You'll hear more about how to support our work and how you, too, can become a patron of our show midway through this program. Patrons get all kinds of cool benefits like ad-free audio, bonus episodes, special wisdom insights, behind-the-scenes looks, and other perks and freebies. Our guest, Pamela Kesling, is someone I've known for many years. We've been colleagues and creative collaborators. We always encourage one another in our hobbies and our creative pursuits. She's incredibly gifted and wise, but nothing has been handed to her. Pamela has faced her share of adversity, and I admire tremendously how she lives a simple, beautiful life. A life that's not perfect and sometimes messy and beautiful all the same. You'll hear the authenticity and the resilience in her voice and her life stories today. Pamela Kesling is the Business Development Director for Spillman Thomas & Battle, a mid-sized regional law firm based in Charleston, West Virginia. She's also the president of the board of Habitat for Humanity of Kanawha and Putnam. In her free time, she is, by turns, a writer, singer, creator, and joy seeker. Pamela has co-founded an online music festival. She's helped produce albums, performed on stages across the country, and enjoys photography, but her real love is reading and writing poetry. Pamela is the mother to a 10-year-old boy and a rescue dog and cat. Settle in and get ready, because over the next 9 minutes, you'll discover why Pamela Kesling is one of the wisest people I know. Pamela Kesling, welcome to the Main Thing Podcast. What a joy to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Skip. Same.
Pamela, your creativity is abundant. It is diverse. You are very creative when it comes to poetry, photography, music. I want to know more about that. So what inspires you? What ignites that spark that sets you off on a creative adventure?
It's interesting because for a long, long time, I never really thought of myself as a creative person. I thought I just have good taste and I appreciate everyone else's creativity.
I want to start with the phrase, watch for deer. Could you tie that all together for us?
So we lived way out in the country and...
Like gravel road?
Yeah,
out.
There was like a about a quarter-mile gravel driveway to my house. And my mom was very nervous, and she would never let us really go too far beyond sight of the house. So we were kind of in our own little world at the end of the holler. As I got older, all I wanted to do was leave. I wanted to go to New York. I wanted to get into publishing. I wanted to get out of there as far as I could go.
I get it.
And so back to the watch for deer thing. When I finally could get in my car and go when I was 17, 18, I was gone as much as I could. And that was, Mom's parting phrase always is, well, be careful, watch for deer. And I heard that a lot from my mom. Mm-hmm. And then I noticed you hear that anytime you leave anybody's house out in the country or anywhere. That's kind of
Appalachian, isn't it?
Yeah. Goodbye. See you soon. Watch for deer.
Yeah. So Pamela, that phrase caught on, didn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of went viral.
So I was leaving my friend, a dear friend of mine in Jackson County, the next county over. Her father passed away, and I had gone to see her at his funeral. Mm-hmm. And as we were leaving, she says to everybody as they're walking out the door, "Bye, thank y'all for coming. Watch for deer." And I was thinking about that on the way home, and exactly what you said, how that really just is another way of saying, hey, I care about you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Right.
Thank you for coming. Be safe. And so I just kind of put that thought out into the ether, tweeted it, actually, shouldn't admit this, while I was driving.
Oh, the truth comes out.
Watch for deer is West Virginian for I love you. And I think it was 2017. And then actually another friend of mine, I think, saw it. And I think when he retweeted it, then I think that's really what, but it was between Christmas and New Year. And I think people were not really doing anything except for looking at their phones or maybe leaving holiday events and leaving. And they've heard this a lot as, thanks for coming to Christmas or whatever. We'll see you. Watch for deer. I think it just immediately resonated, like I said, so much with folks that it just became like a truism. Right. And like it had always been there. Right. I don't think that it was anybody even thought that this is a new idea or a new concept or anybody's, because everyone has said watch for deer.
Pamela, we better pull back the curtain for listeners. They're going, how do these two know one another?
Long story short, I was working at Taylor Books as kind of, I need to make money somehow. Yeah. And it turned out to be probably my favorite job I've ever had. It was just like hanging out with my friends every day. And you were one of those friends.
We were growing our marketing team, and we needed talented people who would work hard, who were quick learners, who had great people skills. And I just called you out of the blue. I'm like, because you think about who do you want on your team? Pick anybody you want. You were way on the top of my list. And so I reached out to you, and it was good timing.
Yeah. And I thought, I would love the opportunity to work for Skip. I think that I always had a lot of respect for you and thought that it would be a great opportunity to learn and grow and do something different. And
I'll say work with.
Yeah.
And we absolutely learned and grew together.
Yeah, and I'm still there. 12 years later? And completely, and I have grown. I started as the marketing assistant, and now I'm the director of business development.
Let's be honest, it's not easy to ask for help or talk about money. Hey, it's Skip here, and many listeners like you continue to ask me, what do you need to continue to develop and build this show? Well, for context, it takes our team about 15 hours of work to produce each one of these packages of wisdom that we deliver to you in podcast form. Really, what we need is funding to cover our costs. So in response, I formed a site on the Patreon platform where you can elect to become a supporting patron of the Main Thing podcast. Now, there are 3 levels you might consider, ranging from $6 to $27 per month. It's all safe and secure, and you can explore the options at patreon.com/themainthingpodcast. Now, how will we use the funding? Funds provided by you and other patrons will be used to defray the costs of production, promotion, and our recurring technology expenses each month. In short, you will be helping to keep this pipeline of wisdom flowing. Thanks. Pamela Kesling, what's the main thing you've learned in your lifetime so far?
Skip, the main thing I've learned in my lifetime so far is the importance of remaining soft and open to whatever comes along.
Remain soft and open. Yeah. Take us inside that. Take us inside your wisdom nugget and tell us more about it.
Well, I've been thinking when I was young, I think I was very rigid, and I wanted there to be rules, and I wanted there to be, the right way to do things. And, I was the kind of kid that I read my Bible every night. I did grammar workbooks for fun as a teenager because, grammar had set rules. And,
word nerd alert.
Yeah.
Beep, beep.
and I think I wanted that with social interactions, which may be why it took me so long to come to a core group of friends. I don't know, but I always needed, and I've learned over the years that none of those things that I wanted, that I was so rigid about, or that I thought there's a right way and a wrong way.
Like black and white.
Yeah, none of those things ever really turned out to be really true. And, even with grammar, over the years, you find it's really not prescriptive.
Right.
It's just a way that folks can understand one another, and language is changing and evolving all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's true really in any area of life. Like, all people are different, and all people are interesting in their own way. And, I thought that there was a certain way my life was supposed to be laid out, or certain things that I had to do in order to be a professional, or to be a proper adult, or any of those things. And none of those things really end up working the way that you think they're going to. And when you...
Thank heavens.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And when you learn to be softer and you can be much more resilient toward the things that come and go. You can let go of the traumas that you might focus on. You can and you can rewrite your story however many ways you need to do it.
You take time to be present in the moment, in the scene, with the surroundings, and then you let that speak to you.
I try to do that. And I notice that when I get really caught up in the swirl, and I become really anxious, and I'm not happy, and I'm not healthy, and I'm not joyful. If I can pause and tell myself, okay, you're really anxious right now. You don't have to be, you're identifying as an anxious person right now. You don't have to identify that way. You can identify as a calm person. And then I can stop and take a breath.
Yes.
And I can stop or slow the spinning out that happens occasionally.
I just felt myself relax as you were talking us through that practice.
Yeah, it's very simple, and it's short and quick. It doesn't require 10 minutes of meditation or anything like that. It's just a moment of saying, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I telling myself about myself? What would I like to be telling myself? Who would I like to be? I can be that person.
Right. I love it. I get it. That all fits. Pamela, when this wisdom clarified for you, and use your metaphor here, the light bulb went off, the switch was flipped, do you remember what was going on in your life at that time where this sort of came together for you as wisdom that you embraced, and you said, okay, this is a guiding force in my life? Was it a trauma or some adversity, or was it just someone you met or something you read?
I think it has been more of a slow, incremental approach to this. I did have a pretty traumatic relationship, an end of my last relationship, which really set me to take pause and reassess myself and get to know myself better, and then learn to be okay, learn to trust myself.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. Pamela, this has been so wonderful. I've loved this conversation, every bit of it. And I just can't thank you enough for making time for this conversation and sharing your main thing wisdom.
Thank you, Skip. It's been such a pleasure. And I'm so honored to be asked to be a guest on your show.
So long for now, Pamela.
So long.
Wow, that goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. I hope you're left wanting more. Sync up with us again next time on The Main Thing for 9 more minutes of wisdom.